Our mega series continues once again, taking a look at all 30 athletes competing at this year's World's Strongest Man. You guys know the score by now. We take a look at their backstory, we take a look at the events and let you know how we think they can do on them, and we rate their overall chances. In this episode, we're looking at the first Dutch athlete to compete at World's Strongest Man since 2013, Kelvin de Ruiter.
You say his name a bit too well.
De Ruiter. Anyway, Auntie Liz, enough of that. Tell us about Kelvin.
Kelvin's first Strongest Man in the Netherlands competition was way back in 2011, and that's a competition that he's since gone on to win twice in 2019 and 2021. But his first international competition was in 2017 when he competed in and won the Strongman Champions League Truck Pull Championships, and he beat two of the all-time greatest truck pullers on this planet, Brian Shaw and Terry Hollands. Since then, he's become a regular at the Strongman Champions League, and he's racked up an impressive 5 victories so far, and he became the overall world champion in 2021. This year, he competed in his first Giants Live competition, which was Europe's Strongest Man, and he placed 9th in a really strong lineup. Couple of fun facts about Kelvin. He is the joint tallest man competing at this year's World's Strongest Man, joint with Brian Shaw and Tom Stoltman, at 6 foot 8 inches tall. And he is the first athlete from Holland to compete at World's Strongest Man since Alex Moonen in 2013. So that was a pretty incredible first international competition for Kelvin, wasn't it?
Kelvin is just unbelievable when it comes to truck pulling. I mean, a lot of people that just focus solely on World's Strongest Man won't have heard of Kelvin, but he's been a regular on the Strongman Champions League for a long time. And as you said there, won 5 international shows. Kelvin is one of those athletes, though, that has some events he's unbelievable at. That Truck Pull World Championships, they did 3 different types of truck pull.
Yeah.
And he just dominated the show. And like you say, there was Brian Shaw there, Terry Hollands were there, JF Caron, Lalas, just a whole host of incredible strongmen. And he dominated the show.
Yeah.
And he's got, you know, when a truck pull is in a competition, he is chomping at the bit because he can absolutely beat anyone.
No truck pull in the heats, though.
No truck pull in the heats. So let's take a look at the heats and see how we rate his chances with these particular events.
So first is the loading rate, and I would expect a giant like Kelvin to be pretty good at Worlds because it's usually very high platforms, big awkward implements to get their nice long tall man arms around.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Kelvin can start this competition really well. He'll be looking forward to the loading and he will expect to get good points. Obviously, first World's Strongest Man, but he's got a lot of history in terms of international competition. That will help. There is always differences when it's World's Strongest Man, but I think having a loading as the first event is the perfect event to settle the nerves and get him into a good position, going on to a couple of events that he may struggle with.
Although he probably would have preferred a truck pull.
Absolutely.
Next then is the Deadlift Ladder, and this is an event he had to do at Europe's Strongest Man this year.
It is, and this is the reason he needs such a good start on the loading, because deadlifting notoriously not scoring such big points on. And as you say, he did the Deadlift Ladder at Europe's Strongest Man very recently, where he placed 11th out of the 12 athletes that were at that competition. Now, weirdly, he's actually pretty good at a side handle deadlift. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that event at this year's competition. So, Deadlift Ladder, deadlifts in general have not been his biggest points in competition. It's something he's working hard on, and if you'll follow his training, you can see it's progressing nicely. It's just not progressed to the point when you've got so many great deadlifters at Worlds. You know, there really is so many good deadlifters. So being a 380 deadlifter, even a 400 deadlifter in the gym, unless you can back that up in competition and then rep it as well, you're struggling to score big points these days. So although he has improved his deadlift a lot, with the level of deadlifters we have at Worlds, he's going to need a good group to pick up too many points.
Next is the car walk. How is Kelvin at car walk?
Again, car walk is an event he's not so comfortable with. I mean, he's not too bad. I think, I haven't seen him do a car walk, but I'm rating him based on super yoke performances. He's done a few different super yokes. Mid-table is like a good performance for him. So it's an event at World's Strongest Man level. I think he's just going to be bottom end of the group. Maybe we'll beat a couple of guys, but there's just so many guys. World's Strongest Man is relentless. I've said it a number of times now, but you can't be average.
No, because there's 3 or 4 amazing guys in your group.
Absolutely. You just need to be so good at every single event these days. And for Kelvin, unfortunately, the car walk, I think he will drop a few points on.
The log lift?
Yeah, it's a similar story, I'm afraid. Okay. When I first saw Kelvin entered at World's Strongest Man, my mind immediately thought of events we often see in the group, such as a truck pull, such as a weight for height. Those kind of events where I thought this guy could really dominate. Yeah. Unfortunately, those aren't the events that were in World's Strongest Man this year for Kelvin. Log is not a great event for him. 155 kilos is his competition PB.
Right.
The log we're going to be using at Worlds is not much less than that. We have spoken about a couple of guys that may lift even less than that. So if he's in the same group as some of them, he could pick up a few points.
Which is unlikely given that,
Absolutely. I think, in a standard group, he's going to struggle to pick up, more than 1 or 2 points.
Next is the wrecking ball hold. Give me some good news about grip.
His grip should be decent, It's not one of his favourite events, but he's not terrible at it either.
He must have big hands.
He does have big hands. Okay. But he doesn't have the same type of grip strength as,
like a Mark or someone.
I mean, we always mention Mark, but there's other guys too. Ivers has got great grip. Yeah. Evan Singleton, Maxime. Lots of these athletes have solid grip. So it's an event he may pick up a few points in, but I don't expect him to win. And it's kind of a similar situation it's just not his favourite events. He's got so many events he is really good at. Yeah. But that's Strongman. You go to each Strongman competition and events change all the time. So this year's heat events, from what I've seen in terms of previous performances for Kelvin, are just not his best.
Just unfortunate.
It's how it goes. Yeah.
It's happened to you before, hasn't it? We looked at the events, we thought, oh God, this is horrible.
I'll go back to that 2014, but don't get me started.
No, I'm not going to. If Kelvin does manage to get into the stone off, how are his Atlas stones?
His Atlas stones are okay. They're not bad at all. He's had some solid performances. He's not the best at them, and there's so many great guys when it comes to stones. I think the reality is he would have loved a dragging type event in there, a throw, an arm over arm, a truck pull, even a side handle deadlift. I've seen him score big points on before. The events are not here, and it's tough. We're all good at different events as strongmen. What makes you world class and one of the absolute best is when you have no weaknesses.
Yeah.
And then we go into the territory of like the Zydrunas, the Brian Shaws, that just it doesn't matter what you threw at them, they always did well. Most athletes out there have good and bad events. Unfortunately for Kelvin,
all of his bad ones are in this group.
it seems to be the case. He needs to come in, PB, be in the best shape he's ever been in. Put on a show, get more invites to big shows, because genuinely, like I said, give him a truck pull, give him an arm over arm type pull, give him a dragging type event, give him side handle deadlifts. He's got events he can beat anyone at. They're just not in this competition.
So it's probably quite obvious, but I'll ask you anyway. How are we rating his overall chances?
Again, I hate to say it, but I think he's going to struggle. It's his first World's Strongest Man. I do think the loading he could pick up some decent points on, but he's going to have to win that event, and then he's going to need to smash PBs on every single event to even have a chance of sneaking in to the stones. I wish him all the best, and I hope he proves me wrong. I have nothing against people proving me wrong. I'd always like to see it. But I just go on the data that we've kind of seen, the results that we've seen. Like I said, he does have some incredible events. If he got to the final, it could win the truck pull.
And it's a step up in competition, we shouldn't forget. We know he's done brilliantly at the Strongman Champions League, but there are levels to Strongman, aren't there?
Absolutely.
He was tested at Europe's Strongest Man, and now he's going to be tested further at World's Strongest Man.
Yeah, it's, you know, the pinnacle of the sport now he's competing at. This is where he wants to be. So it's a good opportunity to get that experience, go away and focus on those weaknesses. And maybe next year you get to come back with the events that you like.
There we go, another episode done and dusted as we edge closer and closer to the 2022 World's Strongest Man. If you are enjoying this series, please don't forget to let us know in the comments, like the video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because once this series is done, we are going to be bringing you daily updates and lives all about World's Strongest Man, and we would love for you all to join us.